Okay, so what you're looking at here is the ABOK ARC 3600 portable battery power station. So this thing is really meant for home battery backup, but you can also take it on the road with you because it does have two convenient carrying handles on it, so you can pick it up and take it in your car and then take it camping or something. But yeah, this thing has a total battery capacity on the inside coming in at 3,840 watt hours, and this can also output up to 3,600 watts. So that's a lot of power to put out, whether you're charging 10 smartphones at once, or if you are like using a power tool that does draw a lot of energy. Even if you are just using it for a short amount of time, having up to 3,600 watts gives you a lot of headroom there. And for me, I use like two heat guns with this thing that do draw a decent amount, and I'm able to use them at the same time if I ever needed to, which probably will be never. But also for me, I use this in my off-grid cabin this past couple of months because it's been pretty hot and humid, and so I was actually using it to run my portable AC. Now on max power, the AC will be drawing around like 1,200 watts or so. So that means this is only going to really last me for 2 to 3 hours. But the good thing is that the AC that I'm using does have an inverter mode. So that means it's running between 650 and 750 watts per hour, but still putting out a decent amount of cold air. And because I have really good insulation in my cabin, that actually is enough for a lot of the time. So this means that this power station was able to run for around 5 hours when I did use it for this particular type of function. So that's pretty good, especially to get me through a chunk of the night when it's very humid at night. So yeah, this thing is good for that. But then when I'm not running something that's super power hungry like an AC or a heater, I'm able to just plug this into my cabin via the generator inlet, and then now I'm able to actually run my lights and also my microwave when I need to use it, and my TV and my Starlink, and also all of my power outlets that I have going around. So at the minimum, if I was just to have my fridge and also my TV and my Starlink running, and during the day maybe like one fan or so, I'm going to actually be using around like 150 to 170 watts per hour. So this means that if I am running at 150 watts per hour, that means that this power station should be able to run up to like 25.6 hours. Now, every power station is not going to be able to get you exactly what you like calculate. So for me, getting around like 23 to 24 hours is definitely really good for me to be able to use this and not have to worry about running out of power until I can make it to the next day and then recharge this power station up via solar panels if I really wanted to. And so yeah, this is a good transition to go ahead and talk about the charging speeds of this power station. So via solar, this can accept up to 2,000 watts of solar charging, which can get this thing fully recharged in 2.3 hours. And then if you wanted to recharge this at your home just by plugging it into an AC outlet, this will be able to get fully recharged if you are running at the maximum 1,500 watts in just around 3 hours or so. But then if you wanted to combine the AC and solar charging at once, you'll now be able to be pumping in up to 3,500 watts inside of this thing, which means that this thing can get fully recharged in 1.3 hours. So I don't ever see myself really doing that, but it's good that you can do that. Now, one thing that is interesting on this power station that I haven't seen before personally myself is that there is a little knob right here. And so this goes up in 300 watt increments. So you have 300 watts, 600 watts, 900 watts, 1,200 watts, and the maximum 1,500 watts. So this is very useful, especially if you are maybe like in an older home, which you don't want to be drawing too much power from your house when you are recharging this, because you might have a bunch of different other things on the circuit. So now you can drop it down to 300 watts. Yes, it will take longer, but it just might just be safer overall, or just better overall for your situation. So yeah, I'm liking this. And usually when power stations do give you a little bit of control over the input power, it's usually really only 2 different modes maximum and then just a regular one. But having multiple modes with this knob is nice. Now, one other way that you can recharge this is via the car port in your car, or the cigarette lighter port is what a lot of people call it. But yeah, you can recharge it that way. And in the box with this power station, you do get multiple cables for your charging needs. So you get the AC charging cable. You also get that cigarette lighter to an XT90 cable. Now, as far as longevity, this is an EV grade battery that the company has put inside of this. So this should be able to get you around 4,000 plus cycles of just recharging it over and over again before you start to see like a significant drop in the total capacity of the battery. Now, let me clear this up. So that doesn't mean after 4,000 times of recharging this thing is just dead in the water, right? It breaks. It just means that the percentage of the overall battery capacity that you can actually use might drop from 100% down to maybe around like 80% or so. But this is multiple years of using this power station before you really have to worry about that. And it looks like the power station went in sleep mode. So let me go ahead and hit this power button again to turn it back on. And so this display is actually pretty bright. So you can see your information as far as your input and your output, and also your battery percentage and the remaining time that you do have. And since we're already looking here, let's go ahead and look at all the ports and stuff underneath this display on this side. So to the right of the control knob that I already talked about, you do have your USB port. So you do have 2 2 USB type A ports that can output up to 18 watts each. And then you have 4 USB-C ports. 3 of those can output up to 20 watts and 1 of those can output up to 100 watts. So these ports are good, but I do wish that it did have more than one USB-C port that could output up to 100 watts. I've seen that on smaller, less expensive power stations than this one. And then below those, you'll find your DC ports. So you have one port that is 12 volts at 10 amps. You have 2 ports that are 12 volts at 3 amps. And then you also have one port that is 12 volts at 25 amps. And then below those, you'll find your AC port section here. So you have 4 AC ports that do support 20 amps. And then also you have one 30 amp port. Now, rotating around to the other side of this power station, we start at the top with this pretty bright light. But one thing I do wish is that this did have different brightness levels. It does just have one single bright setting, but it also does have like an SOS feature where it will actually blink to be able to help you get help if you really need it. And then below that, you will find the AC input port and also the XT90 solar input port. And then next to that, you'll find an emergency shutdown switch. And then at the bottom, you will find 2 battery expansion ports. So the company does sell these expansion batteries that don't have all the ports and bells and whistles, but do have a decent amount of capacity to them. So now you can actually expand the total capacity if you do have 2 of them plugged into this power station all the way up to 11,520 watt hours. So that's a really big battery capacity. But also let's just talk about the design of this power station because it is big itself, right? It's not a tiny portable battery station that you can just pick up with one hand and move it around. This thing weighs 92.5 pounds. So you're either going to have to do some heavy lifting or get someone else to help you. But this does have a couple of things going for it because the way they designed this power station is that it is pretty compact, but also there is a built-in handle inside of this power station that you can now actually pull it out and then now go ahead and roll this like a little roller carry-on bag that you take on the plane, but one that weighs a lot. So yeah, this does make it a lot easier to move around, but also you do have rubber feet on 2 sides of this power station, so you can actually stand it up vertically or lay it down horizontally. And so this is super convenient for me when I am in my cabin because space can be a little bit limited, but being able to stand it up vertically but still have access to the output ports is very convenient. And so yeah, everything else with the design, I think it's a very nice clean design. You do have some fans on 2 sides to be able to help exhaust that hot air that this thing will be producing, and it does also have BMS protection to help with the overall protection of the battery and stuff like that against surges and stuff, so that's good. But yeah, power station looks pretty good, and also you have a way to control this power station via an app on your phone that you can download. So now this will give you a lot of the same controls that you already have on the physical power station itself, but having an app is always good, so you can just be laying in bed and then still be able to control the power station and monitor how things are going. So I think that's all the meaty stuff about this power station. It does have a 10 millisecond time as far as like using this as a UPS battery backup, so that's really good, especially for medical devices. But also the normal price for this power station is coming in at $2,199, but it's been on sale since I've been looking at it for $1,299, which that's a really great deal for the battery capacity and the feature set that you do get. So yeah, this is a really good home battery backup. Again, I've been using it more in the portable type of state for it, but if you are worried about the weight and stuff like that, don't worry too much, because if you are using it as a home battery backup, typically you're probably just going to put it somewhere where you have it plugged into your house and just leave it there. But again, you have the options to move this around and be portable with it. So overall, really good power station I'm happy with so far. So I'll drop a link down below to this ABOK ARC 3600 power station. Let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section below. But like always, I do want to thank you for watching this video, and I will catch you later. Peace.